Hey, welcome to another exciting episode of Friday Night Hangout. As usual, I'm your host, Joy Onyesoh. It's always a delight to welcome you to this interesting safe space where we have conversations on topics, our everyday life. And so today we are continuing the conversation on special seats for women, the reserved special seats for women. We started this series 3 weeks ago, and tonight we're going to have a very energetic, inclusive advocate in the room who is going to give us a whole lot. But before we bring her right in, I just want to say use the comment section and put the hashtag TGIF. Hashtag TGIF. Tell me where you are joining it from. Welcome to another episode. Keep the hashtag rolling in. And of course, I love to know how you're doing. Let me know how the week has been for you. So while we're doing that, and I'm just welcoming you, please join me in welcoming Susan Kelechi. Okay, so we have Susan. Today has been very interesting, right? With the rains and everything, technology is, technology, but we're really going to make good use. We're still going to be resilient. So while we're waiting for her network to sort itself out, let me just take us through, the conversations in the last 2 weeks. With the first episode, we had Barrister Berry Fendo, the president of Women in Politics Forum. There, she told us, we talked extensively about what is even in this special section. Then the conversation moved, further when we had the he for she advocate last week, Austin Igwe, and he told us a whole lot how men can support the bill and the importance of this bill to Nigerians' democracy. So tonight we're having another special guest, Susan Kelechi, who is going to be talking from an accessibility and inclusivity perspective. Join me in welcoming Susan Kelechi. Welcome, Susan Kelechi. Okay, network.
Good evening,
You gotta
everyone.
respect yourself tonight. So,
Good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Kelechi, welcome. It's nice to
Thank
have you
you.
in the studio. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and then tell us why the special seat bill is important as it regards safety and accessibility?
My name is Susan Kelechi Homa, and I am a polio survivor. I am a gender and social inclusion advocate. I love anything that drives inclusion because even in the women's space, women and girls with disabilities are marginalized among women. So we are the marginalized among the marginalized. So anything that drives inclusion, that embraces diversity, I am all for it because it gives opportunity for everyone to be at the table. And this is born out of the challenges I went through growing up, navigating education. I have 2 degrees from the University of Lagos, and the fact that there are so many barriers that women face, and women with disabilities face even more barriers. So this is born out of a need to bridge that gap, to ensure that no one is left behind, irrespective of your status, your disability, or what have you. So, whatever drives inclusion, I jump at it. And for the disabled, for the reserved seats, for me, I think it has the potential to bring about a game change in the political space in Nigeria. Why do I say this? I'm saying this because before now, we already know we just have 3.8% representation, and that is absolutely low. We don't have up to 5%. Tell me, it doesn't speak well of us as a people. It doesn't show that we embrace, the female gender to also be a part of decision making in our space. But with this reserved seat, it guarantees women's representation. And for me, it creates a structural shift This is the most important thing, the fact that with the structural shift, it will ensure that, women overcome the long-standing gender disparities. It's long overdue. We just have 4 women at the Senate. We have 14 at the House of Representatives, and that means zero representation for those with disabilities who are also women. We are looking at women in minority groups, different categories, including the rural women, the young women. Every woman is supposed to be represented. So for me, it's more important because it will also bring about the inclusive lens. It is when you embrace having women that you begin to look at the representation of women with disability. And this is why it excites me anytime we're talking about, the reserved seats bill. And then it's also important because it can open doors for women who are already in the marginalized minority, because already women with disabilities, the rural women, like I said, the young women, they all need to be represented. And so this will create that space. For accessibility, it goes beyond physical structures. It's not about just the physical, it includes access to decision making. When a woman is not at the table of decision making, how will she be heard? So when we are looking at accessibility, we are looking at decision-making spaces, spaces where they can get resources. It's also looking at information, how accessible are informations to women, because we are part of society. We deserve to have information at our fingertips. So how do we have information that will drive decisions that affect our lives? And then inclusivity for me would mean creating enabling environment. How enabling is the political space? We know how it is. It's quite tough for women generally, not to talk of other minority and marginalized group of women. So it's also important that regardless of our backgrounds, we can fully participate, including a rural woman who can drive change. Everyone deserves a seat at the table. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan, for that, very powerful conversation. And now to move that conversation further, can we just break it down a little bit? I know, you've had a number of experiences, and then, of course, from maybe the community or the constituents that you represent. Can we look at some of the very specific challenges that, women with disabilities face, especially in the political and social landscape, and then how this bill can help to close that gap?
First, I would say, for this bill to be transformative, it must be intentional about intersectionality. Yes, we know that there
That's
are
it.
women, but within the space of women, there are intersections of women. So when we are looking at this, we are recognizing the barriers that each cluster of women, each demographic encounters. We are looking at women with disabilities. We are looking at our indigenous women. We are looking at women in conflict zones, because these are also women. Conflict does not remove them, and every other um, category of women that we have, including young women. So we must be intentional, about the intersections around these particular groups of women. And again, it's also important that for inclusion to be achieved, we have to set quotas within quota. When I say quotas within quota, within the reserved seats, are we looking at speaking to reserved seats for women with disabilities who are also marginalized within the women folks? Are we looking at reserved seats for those, rural women, even within the disability space? I am part of those who are fortunate to have acquired education. There are also marginalized women with disabilities within women with disabilities. So are we looking at quotas within quotas?
Wow.
Are we ensuring, that this diversity we are talking about, are we ensuring that there is diversity in party nomination? Because we also need to address that, so that a particular quota, for instance, the National Disability Act says 5% of every employment must go to persons with disability. So if that is what it says, within that 5%, are we looking at the quota for women with disabilities? It is very important. Quotas within quota, this will help drive some of these things. And are we also ensuring that we enforce accountability? We must hold someone accountable for these negotiations that we're making. We're asking questions, and so what we're asking, are we looking at having to ensure that within this space that we have accountability mechanisms for advocacy? Of course, we know that advocacy plays a very crucial role in shaping, public discourse, such as what we are doing at this Friday night hangout. This is a form of advocacy. This is a form of awareness raising, ensuring that people understand it. It's not about reserving seats so that women just have a seat. They must be part of decision making, to ensure that the change that we want, we will drive it. And it's also important to advocate because it will influence policy change. Advocacy influences policy change, and that's what we are doing. We are trying to ensure that everyone, the policy design, whatever it is, that it captures the different minorities, even within the women group, so that nobody is left behind, no matter where you find yourself. And when we are talking about this, well, I said it before, we are also looking at the grassroots women across the different demographics. And so the movements and organizations of persons with disabilities, which is what the Friday night hangout is promoting, embracing inclusion, bringing a woman with disability on board to also share perspective. That is part of it. It's part of the advocacy that we hope to address. Yes.
Thank you so much, Susan, an inclusion advocate, very vibrant as you can see. Something struck me, we know a whole lot of things, not just one thing. But one of the things I want us to expand on is, just also still talking on inclusion, right? On inclusion. How important is it to have this diverse voice, on the table? Some persons might say, oh, women, we're always, coming with different things. Now we're talking about reserve seats. We're now talking about inclusion in the reserve seat. Do you think that it weakens our case or that it strengthens our case?
The truth is that it strengthens our case. And why did I say that? Women with disabilities and other minority groups face layers of discrimination. That is why we want to get it right from inception. We face gender based violence, we face disability based violence, and sometimes economic and ethnic problems. I raised it in the beginning. We do not have the financial wherewithal to dole out all the money that goes into electioneering and everything that comes with it. So once you come out for leadership, people feel, oh, you have all the money, but it's not so. So it's also important that we look at the different demographic. It is strengthening it, ensuring that we leave no one behind, which is what the Sustainable Development Goal speaks to, in our bid to ensure that nobody is left behind. Sometimes we overlook, the political appointments and what have you. Nobody thinks about these minorities. How many people think? People only remember the grassroots women when it gets to campaigning. People only remember people with disabilities when they are campaigning. And so I ask, after the campaigns, what happens? Do you still keep up the tempo? Do you ask if their needs are met? So it's important that we have these honest conversations and strengthen the system. very important that we strengthen the system. It is a means of strengthening the system, not asking for too much. It's just being very, very intentional about the intersections that exist even within the space. Yes. You understand? And then it's also important that we could look at mandating political parties to nominate, candidates from the disability community who are vibrant and capable. It will help us, when we nominate people, because representation matters. That's the truth. And for the reserved seats for women bill, it's not about numbers here. It's about transforming the quality of governance by bringing in, diverse lived experiences for us to be able to succeed. So let's not settle for tokenism. Let's just bring them to, no, we don't want that. Let's bring people because they have the capacity to deliver. And it's also important to push meaningful, diverse, and accessible participation. When women from all walks of life, including those with disabilities, are in positions of power, we all benefit from more, you know.
Increase in price of foodstuff, Gary, due to other, discrepancies or variations in foreign currency and all of that, it impacts all of us. So this conversation is one that concerns you and I, and we need to lend a voice to this conversation. We need to ask questions, and we need to look at how we can make a difference. So why are we taking time to air this series? We're taking time to air this series because we want everyone to get involved. We want everyone to get knowledgeable. We want you to tell someone to have that conversation because, after these public hearings, we're still going to go back to the parliament where it's going to be put to a vote. And so we want to make sure that everyone understands what the issues are. We have the opportunity of having representations. So one of the key marks or the hallmarks of the public hearings is having different groups come up to make presentations on why they support XYZ bill. And for us, it's a special or reserved seat for women. And we'll be coming up to say, this is why this is important. We need our voices there. We need increased representation. We need us to bring that, lived reality of being a woman to the table. So when decisions are being made, it is made from a holistic on the table. We're going to take a short break now, and we'll be right back.
Are you feeling stuck in your business, professional, or personal life? Or are you struggling to find purpose and direction? Imagine having a clear sense of direction, achieving your goals, and living a fulfilling life. Joy Onyesoh Coaching Consult is here to help you. We will work with you to identify your strengths, overcome obstacles, and develop a personalized plan to achieve your dreams. With our coaching and consulting services, you will gain clarity, confidence, and the tools you need to succeed. Do not let fear, lack of clarity, or doubt hold you back any longer. Take the first step towards achieving your goals and living your best life. Contact Joy Onyesoh Coaching Consult today. Joy Onyesoh Coaching Consult, empowering you to reach your full potential. Call, SMS, or WhatsApp +234 704 229 1171. Or you can visit our website www.joyonyesohcoachingconsult.com.